All right, welcome back into the channel. Welcome back for another podcast with me and JaVon as we are here the day before NFL season kicks off. We're recording 2 days before, so did a little math there, quick on the fly. We got a lot to talk about, so I'm not going to waste any time. We are going to start with some Micah Parsons talk. Then we're going to get into week one must-watch games and finish this out with our Super Bowl predictions. The timestamps will be in the description for anybody wondering. Micah Parsons, we came up here almost a week ago now, 5 days ago, gave an instant reaction to the Micah Parsons trade. And I just want to flat out ask you, a week later, the news about the back injuries, with Micah Parsons, simply put, what is the Green Bay Packers ceiling this season? Not what do you think they're going to do. How high could they soar post Micah Parsons trade?
So I think currently this year, their ceiling is probably a NFC championship appearance, NFC championship game appearance for right now. Only because, okay, we've seen Micah play on the Cowboys, right? How much different is the best version of the Cowboys from the last, 3 or 4 years since Micah's gotten there? How better is that best team than the current Green Bay Packers right now? Now, of course, most people are going to think that Dak Prescott is not better than Jordan Love. But, so he's never had a stable run game, Micah Parsons. Their offense, Cowboys have had a relatively good offense, but, defensive playmakers, can you honestly say that the Cowboys' best defense the last 3 years is better than the Green Bay Packers currently right now, talent-wise? I'm not sure.
It's close when you start comparing, what was it, that 2022 or 2023 Cowboys defense that had like 9 All-Pros on the team as a whole. The team that Jordan Love beat in that playoff game going into that playoffs was looked at as a Super Bowl contender. So Obviously hindsight's 2020. We know now that they weren't because they weren't going to be. But I would say that this Packers team is on par with that Cowboys team in terms of projections and how we are looking at the roster. There's obviously a couple big differences. I think the main one is Matt LaFleur over Mike McCarthy.
For sure.
I think Matt LaFleur is clearly a top 10 head coach in football. I think a lot of the time he gets left out of those conversations because he's in such a competitive NFC North, and because the Packers haven't really put together an amazing regular season or postseason run yet. But I certainly think that Matt LaFleur has all those capabilities. And then, of course, you go from playing with Dak Prescott, a well-known playoff choke artist, to Jordan Love, who we will see. Well, we will see what Jordan Love is made of, because I'll tell you what, who's the most pressure is on now is Jordan Love. Now there's no excuses. You got Micah Parsons, an absolute elite playmaker on that defense, which was already top 10 statistically last year. You have Josh Jacobs, who is a top 10 back in football. The Packers always have good offensive line play. You have the head coach. Your team drafted you a first-round wide receiver talent. It's all on you now, man.
In theory, it should be all on Jordan Love, man. And the thing is, their offense is kind of foolproof, bro. Malik Willis stepped in last year and did fairly well.
To me, that's LaFleur.
Yeah.
To me, that's LaFleur. Like, he can scheme. And Jaden Reed's a little banged up right now, but you look at the receiving core. If Golden pans out, you have Golden, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Tucker Kraft kind of emerged last year. You still have Luke Musgrave. It's not the most exciting core, but I think it's on par with Patrick Mahomes' core that he took to the Super Bowl last year in terms of weapons, because obviously Rashee Rice wasn't healthy, and you got a way better running back in Josh Jacobs. So to me, I believe currently as constructed, the Packers' ceiling is a Super Bowl appearance. Wow. The big question marks that I have with this team are actually, funny enough, still on the defensive side of the ball, because with moving off of Kenny Clark and not returning an interior defensive lineman, I have questions about how this team is going to be served against the run, because we saw Micah Parsons on the Cowboys the last 2 years, and Jerry Jones said it at his press conference. They couldn't stop the run for shit with Micah Parsons. So you move on from Kenny Clark for Micah Parsons, who isn't great in the run game, obviously is a premier elite edge rusher talent, and now it's either you're moving Lucas Van Ness to defensive tackle, playing him at a new position, or you're playing guys that were slated to be backups at the defensive tackle position and putting a lot on your linebacking core of Ajirian Cooper and Quay Walker to clean up plays. I'm not saying that they can't, but you play McCaffrey, you play Saquon, you play Jahmyr Gibbs, you play Bijan Robinson in the NFC. You let those guys get to the second level, and sometimes it doesn't matter who the hell you have at linebacker. That's a question. Can they sustain playing man coverage with their cornerbacks? You're going to want Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons to be able to pin their ears back. Can Nate Hobbs and Valentine hold up against Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Moore in division, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans in these big spots? Another question there. And then lastly on the offense, the only other question I have is just, do they have a true number one option for Jordan Love to go to? We saw in the playoff game versus Philly last year, I thought it was a big, big problem. On third downs, there just wasn't the guy to be able to make plays for the Green Bay Packers in the receiving game. So while I do love the trade, and while when we talked about it last week, I was saying, and I still do believe that this is a potential Super Bowl level team, to me, I don't think that they're ready to win a Super Bowl this year. But I also, Packers fans who made it to this point and are kind of like, come on. Jordan Love and Micah Parsons are both 26, and Matt LaFleur is your head coach of the future. Like, you got the hard part done. You got the QB, you got the premier player on defense, you got the head coach. Like, the rest of the roster, this is the easy part to fill out, and this is just the start of an opening for the Packers' run. So don't hear what I'm not saying. Bright future in Green Bay, but for this season, I don't think they can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Love is on a pretty decent contract as well. It's not like he's getting overpaid either way, but you're honestly saying that you think it's on the table that the Packers can beat the Eagles, the Lions, the 49ers, the Bucks. You think it's possible they can beat any one of those teams on any given week in a playoff game?
The only team that I don't think that they could beat there, and 8 minutes into the pod, you're going to make me sound like a homer, but the only team that I don't think they could beat is the Eagles. That's the only team that going into this season that I don't think they could beat, because the Eagles beat them twice last year.
Yeah.
And while Micah is good, I don't think anything has changed drastically from that wild card game as to the reasons why Philly won the game. Okay. Again, Philly's defense was able to shut down the Packers' offense tremendously, and we'll see about Matthew Golden, but I don't think he's Brian Thomas Jr., despite being picked around the same spot. I think he's good. I don't think he's elite. If Matthew Golden's elite, then things change. That is the biggest X factor for that team. But I do think they could beat Detroit. I'm interested to see Detroit without their top two, without their two coordinators, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn gone, and Jared Goff's lack of mobility. If Green Bay can generate a pass rush, could cause problems. So I'm not going to put it past them. A healthy Rams team, I think I would pick over Green Bay. Okay. But it's a coin flip enough game that I think Green Bay could win it. The thing is, somebody else could knock Philly off. That's where in an ideal world, maybe Green Bay doesn't have to play Philly to get to a Super Bowl. But I just find it hard to believe that they're going to not have to play Philly and then also win the Super Bowl when coming out the other side is likely to be one of the top three quarterbacks in the sport.
Yeah.
Obviously, if the bracket breaks kind of crazy and then all of a sudden, Houston or your Pittsburgh Steelers go on a run in the AFC and then Green Bay never had to face Philly, then sure. Like in that world, they could win the Super Bowl. But holistically speaking, I just don't see it happening this year.
Yeah, I mean, and it's very likely that, don't get me wrong, the Packers are like the X factor now, like in the NFL, at least in the NFC. They're like, What are they going to do this season?
Well, the NFC, we were talking about it. It was kind of like Philly and who else is going to step up?
Yeah.
Detroit, are they still going to be there without their coordinators? Can the Rams stay healthy? Is Washington just that good with Jaden Daniels? To me, I feel like the Packers stepped up as number one contenders.
I mean, who else better
To
could they
Philly.
have gotten as an offseason
Right.
acquisition? Like, whether it's signing or trading, Micah Parsons is as good as it gets, to be honest with you. Young, top 5 player or top 5 player.
These kinds of guys don't get traded.
Yeah,
you
especially
can't just
at 26.
trade for a prime, top 3 defensive edge rusher in football. People were calling him a top 5 player in the sport, and I was like, we need to settle down.
Hey, I mean, he could be eventually, but not currently right now. But I just think it's crazy how, like, at the end of the day, these are the Green Bay Packers, man. They're the X factor right now, but it's very likely we don't even talk about this team that much during the actual season until they actually played the Cowboys. I think they played the Cowboys this year.
Week 4.
Yeah.
Week 4 Sunday Night Football.
Yeah,
so we'll definitely be talking about that. That'll be interesting. I think that NFC North is going to be something we talk about all season long. I think that's a good segue to the second point of this podcast here, where we are going to do a little bit of a week 1 preview. We each picked out 3 must-watch games for week 1. I don't know if we picked the same, if we didn't, so I guess we'll see how that goes here. My first game is the Friday night game, Chiefs-Chargers in Brazil. I know you're low on the Chargers here, just general going into the year. To me, the Chiefs don't need to win this game by any means, and I guess neither do the Chargers, but if the Chargers win this game, opening up the year, an AFC West win against Kansas City, the Chargers could be putting that division on notice in week 1. Yeah. And that could be such a huge momentum boost, especially if you get production out of Omarion Hampton and Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith, the guys that you maneuvered your offseason around to get on the offensive side of the ball. And if that young defense that lost some veteran players still looks like the Chargers defense we saw last year, this is massive. To me, this is a huge early on season test as to where do the Chargers measure up against the cream of the crop in the AFC and against the cream of the crop in their division.
And that's facts. I got the Chiefs versus Chargers on my list as well. So, I mean, I honestly, man, if they can come out and they can beat the Chiefs, then the whole trajectory of their season can change in a snap. And the Chiefs, I don't know what their record has been in their first game in week 1s, but I don't think they've lost that many times in the last decade.
Yeah, they lost to Detroit. I know that 2 years ago, but Chris Jones was out, and I think Travis Kelce missed that game as well. So they weren't all there by any means.
Yeah, and for the the Chiefs, man, I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes' record is something like 35-5 in division. So if the Chargers can come in and put the league on notice and say, hey, they're not running this division anymore, it can mean a lot for that organization, to be honest.
And I think the same could be said for Kansas City, because this offseason, myself included, you, I think to an extent, we'll see. I don't know your Super Bowl and AFC Championship prediction, but a lot of people have started to sell their stock on Kansas City. And while you didn't buy stock on the Chargers, and I didn't go crazy, I just had them staying the same. If Kansas City could come out in Brazil week 1 and put belt to ass to the Chargers, that's a statement. Hey, we lost in the Super Bowl and we got embarrassed, and that's fine. But we're still the motherfucking Kansas City Chiefs, okay? Don't forget who we are. And I'm excited to see what Kansas City's offense looks like without Rashee Rice. Now that 6-game suspension is in line, is this going to look like the Chiefs of last year down the stretch where, they were winning games, but they were 11-1 in one-score games, and eventually against good players, that's going to come back to a medium, and they were nickeling and diming you down the field? Or is this a Chiefs team that's going to take the top off? I know we saw it in the preseason with Tyquan Thornton, but in the preseason, Patrick Mahomes was looking to take shots down the field. Are the Chiefs looking to go back to being an explosive, fun offense? You remember 2019 with Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins? That team was loading it up and firing.
Yeah,
and you got Worthy, you got Hollywood Brown, you got Tyquan Thornton. You got speedsters on that team. And you drafted a left tackle in Simmons, who you're hoping can protect Patrick Mahomes now to take those shots.
Hey, and the left tackle on the Chargers, I mean, how big of a deal is that going to be?
Well, I think Alt is playing left tackle, so the right tackle now is in question.
Yeah, so I mean, but still, that's like you went like just a month or two ago, you're thinking that was one of the main reasons why some people had the Chargers potentially winning the division is because they may have the best offensive line in the division. So, or the potential is there. So, I mean, we don't even know anymore when it comes to that. But the reason why I have this game on my top 3 for week 1 games is because of the potential that the Chargers have to put the league on notice. If the Chiefs win this game, I'm not going to think anything different at all. Even if they win by 30.
Well, definitely you're not. Definitely you're not.
Even if they win by 30. Well, I mean, to be honest, I'll be shocked. Like, dang, like Harbaugh lost by 30. But to be honest with you, man, the Chargers have a chance to do something kind of crazy, especially given Patrick Mahomes' record in that division.
Yeah, no, for sure. I completely agree with you there. So you also had Chiefs Chargers. The second game that I had pegged here is an interesting one. I think it's going a little under the radar, but I have 49ers at Seahawks.
Wow.
And it's an NFC West matchup that, again, I do think it's just a little bit under the radar in terms of how much people are talking about it. The 49ers have the easiest schedule in the NFL, so a lot of people are projecting them to win the NFC West. Seattle won 10 games last year and missed the playoffs. They rejumped and revamped that entire offense. They brought in Kubiak to be their offensive coordinator from New Orleans. They move away from Geno Smith, bring in Sam Darnold to be their guy, pay Sam Darnold. They trade DK Metcalf, let Tyler Lockett go, sign Cooper Kupp, and you draft Gray Zabel, the offensive lineman in the NFL draft. And now I'm kind of sitting here thinking, what does this offense look like in 2025? And what does San Francisco's defense look like? Is it good enough? I'm excited to see that side of the ball. And then, of course, on the flip side, Kyle Shanahan versus Mike McDonald. Like, yes, please. The 49ers have owned Seattle the last few years. I'm interested to see if this is a year where this can be competitive. And if Seattle wins this game, all of a sudden now, can they go win this division is the conversation.
Oh, hey. I mean, it's on the board. The big names in San Francisco on the defensive side of the ball are still kind of there. It's really just like the other players, like the replacement players, the players who you're banking on this year to actually make an impact, not the players that you already know are going to make an impact. And also that wide receiver group, man, is banged up. JaVon Jennings just practiced, I think, yesterday or a couple of days ago for the first time in over a month. So you got Ricky Pearsall.
No Ayuk.
Yeah, no Ayuk yet at all. I mean, you just don't know what to expect over there. CMC, I mean, it seems like people think it's a ticking time bomb for him to get injured, which is why they went out and got Brian Robinson to begin with. So, I mean, we'll see, man. The 49ers have definitely a lot of question marks, and the Seahawks kind of built their team weird, too. So
Seattle, yeah. So I get a lot of pushback from Seahawks fans on every video that I do when it comes to projecting their team because their offense on paper doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It just doesn't. Sam Darnold at quarterback over Geno Smith was a weird choice. I think Geno is better, but I get it. Sam had a way better year last year, and he's younger, and you're investing there. But what has been Sam Darnold's biggest kryptonite? Bad offensive line play and pressure to him. He folds.
Yeah.
Seattle's offensive line isn't close to Minnesota's. Okay, so what's Sam Darnold's best attribute? He's got a hell of an arm on him. Well, your main two wide receivers are most efficient in the slot in Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith-Njigba. And Ken Walker can never stay healthy. So the offense I just have so many question marks about, and I never want to stamp anything as, oh, I know exactly how this shit's going to work. I'm smarter than NFL minds. But when I look at it on paper, I'm like, I got to see this to believe it.
Hey, maybe they got those two slot receivers because of the offensive line. They need them to be able to get open quickly. And,
yeah, that's a fair argument.
And a lot of people are down on Cooper Kupp. I don't think Cooper Kupp has taken that far of a step back in the last year or two, man. I just think Puka Nacua has just come in and taken over the wide receiver one position in LA the last year or so. But I don't think Cooper Kupp has gotten significantly worse, and JSN is projected to have a pretty good year this season. So
I thought JSN looked great last year.
I think it is on the board that offensively they are better than last year. They're better offensively. Their defensive side of the ball is.
If they're better offensively, than last year, they'll win this division. If that offense is good, that defense is the best in the division by a mile.
Yeah.
If that offense is good, they'll win this division.
Hey,
so this is why I'm saying this game, there's a lot on the line. What's the number 2 game that you had?
So number 2 for me is Ravens-Bills. I mean,
yeah,
come
classic.
on now. Anytime you got Lamar Jackson going up against Josh Allen, I mean, like, Jesus, man, this is going to be a shootout or it could be a slugfest. Who knows?
I'm going to hit you with sports talk TV television question here, but is this game must win for Baltimore after and again, it's week 1, so I understand shit's not must win, but if you're Baltimore and your season ended losing to Buffalo in the playoffs in Buffalo because you couldn't get over that hump, and once again facing off against one of the big 3 quarterbacks, Lamar came up short. If he opens up the very next season losing in that same game, does that sit with them throughout the year? Is there any question marks of can we do it?
You know what? That is a good question, but I don't think it is. Unless it's the playoffs, I don't really stress when it comes to the regular season. If anything,
I agree with you for the record, but I had to hit you with the talk show TV question.
If anything, I think it's more must win for the Bills because I don't have them winning that division. So, in my opinion, I think it's more must win for the Bills. The Ravens, I mean. It would be weird having the Ravens start off kind of slow because they usually don't do that. They usually play pretty good against better teams. It's usually the weaker teams that come out and kind of shock them once or twice a year and beat them for no reason. But it's definitely going to be a good game. If the Ravens defense, that's going to be the thing to really pay attention to.
Yeah. If that defense comes out and punches Buffalo in the fucking mouth, the league is on notice about that Ravens defense. That Ravens defense might be the strength of the team this year if they could pull that off. And like you said, it's Sunday Night Football. It's Allen Lamar. Of course it's must watch.
I'll be glued to my TV, man. But when I saw this on the week 1 schedule, I mean, it was just that's the game of the fucking week for me.
And another thing is this game, while it's only week 1 and, we did the, is it must win, blah, 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 BS, that you just have to ask that question. It could have massive playoff implications. These are 2 teams that could theoretically be battling it out for the 1 seed, the 2 seed. I know you have the Pats winning the division, but obviously it's on the board that we're just kind of in the same spot we were last year. Yeah. And all of a sudden this game could be the tiebreaker.
Hey, and who knows?
A game that happened all the way in week 1 could affect, imagine, say Kansas City is the 1 seed again, and Baltimore wins this game, and now instead of going to Buffalo for a divisional round playoff game, Josh Allen's got to go to Baltimore.
Yeah, and I mean, it's week 1, man. Week 1 last year, the game of the year, what was it? Chiefs versus Ravens, the Isaiah Likely toe out of bounds.
Yeah.
So that was crazy last year as well. If the Ravens come out and lose again back-to-back first games of the season, that could play something psychologically, now that I think about it. Who knows?
I mean, because, again, it would have just been just coming up short, Likely foot. Yeah. Andrews drops the 2-point conversion. What's it going to be this time in this spot? Yeah, so I got a third game here that I'm definitely looking forward to. We talked about this team earlier, the Lions and the Packers. They play week 1.
Okay.
And I think that this is a shot for both of these teams to come out and plant their flag. The NFC North runs through us. If the Green Bay Packers win this game, post Micah Parsons trade, the offense is humming. Matthew Golden looks good. The floor's out there calling the plays. Jordan Love's doing his thing. And you had the Lions lose their coordinators, and you added a major piece of Micah Parsons, and then you beat them week 1. Everybody will look at the Packers as they run the NFC North. But a Dan Campbell coached team, I think the Lions are going to come into this game with some real extra motivation, going to Lambeau. All week, everybody's been talking about the Green Bay Packers and how now they're Super Bowl contenders because they made a trade, and the Lions lost their coordinators. This is still one of the most talented rosters in football. And I mentioned this when talking about Micah earlier. What will be the way to kill the Packers? Run the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery might eat in this game. The Detroit Lions, don't be surprised if in this game they show you they still got that grit and they run the ball down the Packers' throat all day long. I think that this is going to be an intense game. I think it's going to be a physical game. I think it's going to be a close game. And again, this is your starting point for an NFC North that with these teams and then the Bears and Vikings, that I think will be the most competitive division potentially in NFL history.
Hey, man, this definitely, on paper, is the best division in football right now, without a game being played at least. But I think this game is going to be really big for Jordan Love. That Detroit Lions defense, when fully healthy, we haven't seen them fully healthy in a long time. This Detroit defense, fully healthy, was a top 5 defense in football in the limited snaps that they had. So I'm just like, Matthew Golden is going to have to ball out. Jaden Reed is going to have to show that he still has something left, because he's been banged up. I think, isn't Christian Watson out for the whole year or whatever? He's going to be out for a very long time.
I think he could maybe make it back for like a playoff run, but I wouldn't bank on it.
Yeah, so someone's going to have to step up and be that deep threat. I mean, we're just going to have to see, man. I'm not really worried about the Lions offense. I think they'll still be okay. I got Jameson Williams.
I mean, but I'm excited to see that battle, man.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the thing. You don't know what game you're going to get from Jordan Love. Everybody, if Jared Goff plays bad, there's still Jahmyr Gibbs who can take off for 80 yards at any moment. Josh Jacobs is amazing. Don't get me wrong. He's not Jahmyr Gibbs, And it's not like the Packers have question marks.
The weapons in Detroit absolutely outweigh the weapons in Green Bay when you start to factor in Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, Isaac Tesla, who had a hell of a preseason.
He's
like this guy's looking like a steal for them in the draft, because he's going to be their 4th receiving option. Like, I know we're sitting here talking about Tesla, and it's like, all right, but
that
still,
matters,
he's a guy, and you look at Green Bay, and it's who is their wide receiver 1? I don't know. Like, if Jameson Williams was on the Packers, is he their wide receiver 1? Because that's the 2 in Detroit. So I think, again, and just watch for the attitude that Detroit comes out with in that game. Because I think Detroit's heard a lot of chirping about how the coordinators were the strength of the team. I think they've heard a lot of chirping about how good the NFC North is and how they missed their window. And especially this week, there's going to be a lot of noise about how good the Green Bay Packers are. There's going to be plenty of people on your favorite show that are picking the Packers to make the Super Bowl, win the NFC North, or win the Super Bowl. And there's going to be a lot less predictions of the Detroit Lions than there has been in years past. And I think they're going to take it personal.
Yeah, there is so much talent in this division. Even though the Packers got Micah Parsons, it's not crazy to say that it's on the table. The Packers finished last in that division. With all the talent, it's possible. It's definitely possible. So I think the start to the season for the Packers is going to play drastic. Is going to be a drastic implication on how their seeding is going to be if they make the playoffs, or just in general in that division. I think is going to play a big role. So we're going to see.
I think that's pretty fair. What's the last game that you picked for must watch?
So my last game is Jets versus Steelers. Because come on now, I had to pick it, man. Everybody year after year after year is always doubting the Steelers, saying, "Oh, this is going to be the year." Somehow, some way, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to finish over 500, and they finish over 500. They make the playoffs over pretty good teams. other teams that were supposed to make the playoffs and have very good seasons end up falling out. And if if Aaron Rodgers plays the Jets and gets outplayed by Justin Fields, like real talk, I know you've seen the training camp clips, the preseason throw. He doesn't look like he didn't look this bad for us last year. I can say that 100%. And he's missing easy throws. And if Aaron Rodgers comes out and shits the bed, man, and he can't get DK the ball, and the run game is just non-effective, and the defense is kind of getting shredded and can't stop Justin Fields on the run, scrambling for his life. I mean, it can really start a downward trend for our season.
Yeah.
And this has nothing to do with the Jets, for real. It's really all about the Steelers, for real, for me, honestly.
Yeah, I got 2 points that I want to make here. One, I think the Steelers are a playoff team. I had bet against them like the last 2 years, trying to be the guy that's like, this is the year that Tomlin doesn't get it done. I'm tired of that shit. Like, at this point, this guy's made the playoffs with Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, Kenny Pickett. Like, is Aaron Rodgers a top 16 quarterback at this point in time? I don't know. But he's better than what they've been rolling with. I do know that. Yeah. I like the DK Metcalf trade. I am a big Caleb Johnson guy. I think the defense may be the strongest it's been in the last decade potentially. I will say this, though. This is a prime upset alert game. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers back to MetLife versus the Jets. Justin Fields revenge game. All these emotions. Week 1, still figuring shit out. Connections maybe not there because there's a lot of new faces in the Steelers offense that who knows where they're at, figuring shit out. And then the Jets just surprise win, like 19-17 field goal at the buzzer, some disgusting game, dude.
I mean, they are at home. They do have a good defense. It's totally possible. That's the thing that
I'm not saying I'm betting it to happen. Yeah. All I'm saying is I'm not putting the Steelers in any parlays.
I mean, exactly, man. This is shit. I mean, well, we're gonna have to see, man, how that offensive line holds up. TJ Watt's first game off of that new extension. Cam Hayward still wants a pay raise.
Jalen Ramsey. I mean, you were sending me videos. Like, this is going to be this is going to be the most free-range defender I think we've seen in a long time. I think there's games where Jalen's going to line up at outside corner. There's games where he's going to be playing the nickel. I think there's going to be plenty of looks where you see him just straight up free safety in it. Yeah. I think they might throw some exotic shit out there, and Jalen Ramsey's all of a sudden going to be a middle linebacker on a play or two. I seriously think that this defense, with the versatility of Jalen Ramsey and with how good Ramsey is at the cornerback position in run defense, is going to be able to use him in such a variety of ways that I think it's really going to fuck with other teams. Yeah. And having a guy like Joey Porter Jr. and Darius Slay as outside corners to have the flexibility to move Ramsey around and just really use him as a Swiss Army knife on that defense is such a luxury. And I think it is going to throw fits. I think Jalen Ramsey, truthfully, could be your guy's solution to Lamar Jackson killing you with his feet.
Yeah, I mean, and
you play him at nickel in that game and you say, you see Lamar run that way, you can stop him.
Have him out there as a QB spy, Jalen Ramsey QB spy. But, I mean, yeah, this is...
Just play the flat.
Yeah,
if you see Lamar tuck it and go, you better get him. Yeah, that'll be a fun game. The one game we didn't talk about that I do want to give just a quick shout to is also Vikings and Bears. Two teams with a lot of question marks on their offenses. They got the Monday primetime game. So something I'm looking forward to seeing there. Potentially the reason now that you guys clicked on this video, though, are Super Bowl predictions. We're both going to give our NFC and AFC matchups and then the Super Bowl. I'll start us off just because there is a video already out on the channel with my prediction, so some people, it's not new to them. My NFC championship, with the way that my bracket broke, is the 5 seed Green Bay Packers traveling to Philadelphia to take on the 1 seed Philadelphia Eagles. In that game, I do have the Philadelphia Eagles moving on and winning. Simply put, in terms of my bracket, this was the first time that Green Bay faced a team that really can run the ball and run the ball at an elite level. And you have Jurgens, Dickerson, Mailata, Lane Johnson, that can run the ball all over any defense, but especially one that I don't think has a strong interior defensive line. I think Saquon Barkley, who was just voted the best player in football, number one on the NFL Top 100, is able to have a day against this team. And when I look at the Packers offense versus the Eagles defense, it looks pretty similar to what we saw last year in the playoffs, in which the Packers only finished with 10 points. So to me, Philly has way more talent than Green Bay at this point in time. I think this could seriously be a rivalry throughout the rest of the 2020s, back and forth in multiple playoff spots. But for where we're at, I do think Philly is just a tier above Green Bay at this point in time. But Green Bay went from, in my predictions, out of the playoffs to in the NFC Championship. So Micah Parsons, I mean, that mattered. In the AFC, this was hard. It hurt me a little bit, but I couldn't bet against the Chiefs to be back in the AFC Championship. I have the Chiefs as my 5 seed, and I have them traveling to the 2 seed Buffalo Bills. I have Lamar and the Ravens coming up short again and not being in conference championship weekend. I have another Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen AFC Championship. I know, chalky as shit, but listen, dude, until it doesn't happen, I'm not, again, that was my logic this year, man. I'm picking the Steelers to make the playoffs because until it doesn't happen, so be it. And same here, man. Until we don't get Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in a high-level playoff game, I'm not picking it not to happen. They were on opposite sides of the bracket. They didn't face each other until the AFC Championship. It's just the way that it goes. I do have this as the year Buffalo finally gets the job done. I think in Buffalo, some of the things that we talked about with Kansas City getting a little weaker, I'm not fully convinced that their offensive line is better. Buffalo brings in Joey Bosa to be an edge rusher. I think it's very much on the board that they trade for another veteran piece at the deadline to really load up on a pass rush. Josh Allen, while you could argue Lamar deserved the MVP last year, I do think Josh did play the best football of his career. So I think he has reached a peak where he has, as a player, where he's just an offense. They still have James Cook. They worked out that contract. He's happy. He's ready to go. And I would be surprised if we didn't see one of Khalil Shakur, Keon Coleman, or Dalton Kincaid take a level up this year. And we saw last year in this matchup, it was a game of inches, not miles. A couple of those QB sneaks go Buffalo's way, and maybe they're in the Super Bowl last year. They get a little bit better. I think Kansas City got a little bit worse. I had Buffalo having a better regular season. Home field advantage was enough for me to send the Bills to the Super Bowl. And then, of course, that is Bills versus Eagles in the Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. And I won't bury the lead. I've talked about the Eagles reminding me of the Legion of Boom Seahawks, a team that I felt could be dominant for a 2 to 4 year run. The Legion of Boom Seahawks were one Marshawn Lynch handoff away from going back-to-back and beating the Patriots. I don't see a world where Philly makes that mistake at the goal line and doesn't just run the ball, whether it's Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley. So I do have the Eagles going back-to-back. I think it's still the best roster in football. They were able to retain their players. And again, Jalen Hurts showed you in the playoffs last year, if you want to sell it to stop the run, I could beat you through the air. They have so many pieces on that offense. A.J. Brown's a top 5 receiver. Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. It's a top 5 offensive line. Devonta Smith's a top 5 wide receiver too. Saquon Barkley's a top 1 running back. And the defense, it's young. It's electric. You still have Quinyon, Cooper DeJean. You get to draft Jahad Campbell. Makuba will be making plays by then. Carter, Davis, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Zach Bond. Like, it is still a loaded, loaded roster. I have them coming out the NFC, and I have them winning the Super Bowl.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It's not even a crazy pick. But I am kind of
to be fair, because anybody that wants to call me a homer, last year – I had Chiefs over Lions in the Super Bowl.
You did. I remember
so
that.
I'd like to clarify. I don't just pick the Eagles every year to pick them. But this year, I just watched them win a Super Bowl. So, of course, I think that they're the best team.
Hey, man. I've seen you talk very highly of the Houston Texans, and I'm kind of shocked that you didn't have them in the championship game. I'm not going to lie.
I had them in the divisional round in Buffalo, losing that game, but I thought it would be close.
That
I do think that my divisional round was Houston versus Buffalo, Kansas City versus Baltimore. I still have those 4 as the elite tier of AFC teams.
Okay, cool. I mean, man, I was like for sure, like, is he gonna have the Chiefs?
I just think Josh Allen and Lamar, like I think Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have both been too great for one of them to not eventually break through, and Josh Allen has played better in the playoffs. That's where I landed on why I selected Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl this year.
Okay.
So
So
your
my
NFC
picks are a
chip.
little bit. I mean, it's kind of shocking to myself, but I do have the Week 1 game of the week, Ravens versus Bills. I do think that's going to be the AFC Championship game.
Kansas City doesn't make it.
I think the Bills are going to knock off the Chiefs a little bit a week before that. And I think Baltimore is going to have kind of smooth sailing to the AFC Championship game. And I have the Ravens beating the Bills in that AFC Championship game and making the Super Bowl, where they will play the winner of the Chicago Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles. And I have Philadelphia winning that game.
Ooh.
And for the Super Bowl, it will be Ravens versus Philadelphia Eagles. And in that game, I will pick the Baltimore Ravens to win against the Philadelphia Eagles. And Lamar will finally get his Super Bowl.
I want a quick pull back to the Bears making the NFC Championship.
I'm aware.
I'm not. Listen, people might shit on it. I don't hate it. Man, I think that there are sour grapes over Caleb Williams because of last year and how disastrous the Bears season was. But if you had told someone 2 years ago you didn't tell them how the Bears season went, but you told them 2 years ago, Caleb Williams is going to have Ben Johnson as his head coach. He's going to have a top 10 offensive line. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Bird, and DeAndre Swift will be his weapons. And it'll be a top 16 defense. That team's going to the NFC Championship. Nobody would have called you crazy. Nobody.
For real.
I think it's just important to note that the NFL isn't just linear. Like, there's high highs, low lows, and like things could change on a dime. Look at San Francisco in the Super Bowl to a 6-win team. Like, it's possible to go from a 6-win team to into the Super Bowl. Yeah. Washington last year went from the number 2 pick to the NFC Championship. You know, the Bears were better last year than Washington was 2 years ago. So I don't hate it. I wanted to address it. Ravens, Eagles, on paper, that's the most fun Super Bowl. On paper, that is the 2 best rosters. So I don't hate you just leaning that way. And listen, man, obviously I'd want the Eagles to win, but Lamar getting it done would be great to see.
Yeah.
I'm rooting. I'm hoping Lamar proves me wrong and could get to the AFC Championship and beat Mahomes or Allen in a big playoff game. It was just, when I see it, I'll believe it. And in my eyes.
So my prediction is kind of banking on the Bills beating the Chiefs because I don't think that the Ravens would do it.
So I had Chiefs Ravens in the divisional round. Yeah. So that's where. So we agree there.
I don't think the Ravens would beat the Chiefs. This is me banking on like Josh Allen. Who else is going to beat the Chiefs? Like, it has to be Josh Allen. So that's me. And then I have the Bills kind of having like their version of a Super Bowl hangover. You know, they're like, oh, we beat the Chiefs.
I definitely think that could happen. Yeah. People are going to comment like, oh, if Josh Allen's the only guy that could beat the Chiefs, then why can't he beat the Ravens? I think that's a great point. I think that Kansas City has been kicking Baltimore and Buffalo's ass for so long that the week after beating that team, it's going to feel like you finally got the job done, but you didn't.
Still 2 weeks
but you didn't. Or, like, for me, it was Kansas City Buffalo in the AFC Championship. Buffalo wins. You didn't get the job done. Now you're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, the job's not finished type mentality, obviously. So there you have it. I have Eagles over Bills in the Super Bowl. JaVon has Ravens over Eagles. A little chalky there compared to some of our divisional predictions, but certainly check those videos out. We will be here every single Wednesday talking NFL, talking whatever the biggest storylines were, and then kind of taking a look ahead at the following week. So If you like long form content, make sure you're subscribed to the channel for this podcast every single Wednesday. Be sure to check out JaVon's links in the description down below. As always, leave a like on the video. We don't have a name for this. If you guys want a name for it, comment some name suggestions down below. But other than that, JaVon's got to go to the airport. I got to do some work. So we will catch you guys next week.
Yes,
Peace.
sir.